News for Jack, Assistant Chief Meteorologist David Heckard. Today we're not looking at the weather on the planet Earth, but we're looking at the weather on the planet Mars. We've had a lot of rovers and landers put on Mars in the last decade or so. Some of those are still with us providing data. Others have now come and gone, and it looks like another lander is going to near its end of life as we head into the next couple of weeks, and it's all because of the weather on Mars. I'll explain more here in just a second. Let's talk about this mission. This is the InSight mission that was put on Mars back in 2018. The project was actually approved by NASA back in 2012, and this is a unique one. This does not have a rover that's exploring anything. It's a stationary mission, and it's mainly looking at the geology of Mars. In fact, one of the big things it's looking at is how the Mars tectonic plates operate. And this white thing you see right there on your screen, that's actually a seismometer. Now, on Mars, we're not measuring earthquakes because we're not on Earth. We're measuring Marsquakes. And it's becoming more and more certain that Mars has a very active atmosphere, or a very active tectonic plate system. In fact, 1,300 Marsquakes have been recorded by this device. The system is also set up to record a 3D model of the interior of Mars and also heat transfer. How does heat transfer from the surface of Mars back up into the atmosphere, and how does the atmosphere transfer heat back down to the surface of Mars? But the end is near for this system because of the weather. I want you to see a picture here from one of the cameras. One thing you notice in the Martian atmosphere is a lot of kind of that gray or almost tannish sky out there. That's some dust that's being elevated from the ground up into portions of the atmosphere, and Mars is well known for its dust storms. In fact, here's that initial picture of InSight when it first landed back in 2018, and here's a picture of the system in late spring, early summer. Notice how the solar panels are almost completely covered now in dust, and multiple storms have impacted this system. And because solar panels are the primary method of power for the InSight rover or the InSight landing system, there isn't much power left to go for this. In fact, we're now talking about it down to a 20% operation from what it was when it first was fully operational, and that means they've had to cut back on some of the instruments that are used. In fact, the only thing that remains operational on InSight is the seismometer, and probably one more big major dust storm, and it'll be the end of the road for InSight. In fact, the dust storms can be very widespread. Here's a picture of one. This is on your right what Mars normally looks like, and on the left is what Mars normally looks like. On your right, you can see it's completely shrouded in this major dust storm that sometimes encompasses the entire planet. So because of the dust on top of those solar panels, the end is getting very close. In fact, NASA will call it and say that the system's no longer operational when it misses 2 consecutive communications back up to a Martian satellite that uses a relay to send information back to Earth. So weather is an impact even on Mars. I'm Assistant Chief Meteorologist David Heckard for Channel 4, the local station.